It's a great day at Real Estate Radio, and we welcome back to the show second-time guest, Christine Holland with Riverkeepers. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, my gosh. You were on last year, I believe, right? And we talked about all things that are happening, and now there's a new schedule, a new calendar of events, and we're going to dive right in. But before we do, what the heck is Riverkeepers? I keep saying Riverkeepers. What is Riverkeepers?
Our mission is to advocate for sustainable use of the Red River, and we do that by trying to get people to learn about the river so that they can help sustain the Red River and also safely enjoy it.
Well, I think it's easy for people to say, hey, that river is really brownish green and dirty and gross. Is that true?
No. And you can come out water quality monitoring with us just so you can figure that out on your own. But it's really just muddy because of the clay soils that we have here.
Okay, tell us about the soils and why our area is so different than other places.
Sure. The clay soil is so fine. It stays suspended in the water column, so it gets all mixed up. So if you actually fill a clear bottle of river water and let it sit for 24 hours, it will be almost clear with just a bunch of dirt on the bottom of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea. What kind of fish, what kind of wildlife tend to use the river as their jam? Like, I remember I grew up with a river in my backyard, and so this is maybe I'm going to get myself caught, but I used to steal a bunch of lumber from the construction sites, and we built a fort down by the river, and I would fish all the time. We had a 2-story fort down there, Christine, like legit. I've sold a lot of those houses now for that builder, and so I feel like I've hopefully brought them back to the revenue that I stole back as a dumb 10-year-old. But none of I'm guilty myself here. People are like, I'm never going to listen to this Yahoo again. But we used to fish all the time down by the river, and I remember catching a really big catfish one day.
So that's the most caught game fish, but you guess how many fish species are in the river?
20?
Over 80.
Over 80. Okay, so catfish is the most caught. What else?
Well, the one people like to catch because they put up a fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then I didn't know what to do with it. Like, I think we stepped on it and got the hook out. Like, I was, again, a very mature 10-year-old. Yeah.
You can eat them. So actually some of the fish consumption advisories in North Dakota, Minnesota are better than the lakes in Minnesota for the Red River.
Really? So what else is the river used for besides fishing for catfish and 79 other species of fish?
So it's great for paddling, for canoeing and kayaking. We always encourage, of course, staying sober, wearing your life jacket, and portaging around the dams. We have 3 of those in Fargo-Moorhead. And one of the myths is that there's undertows in the Red River, and that is not true.
That was actually my next question is current strength, undertows, that sort. So there's not an undertows.
No, there used to be at the dams, but now they've been in town, been retrofitted with the 5% rock slopeway and eliminated that. However, we still suggest you go around because people here aren't really used to whitewater rafting, and you could still hit your head on a rock and all of those things.
I mean, are there category 1 and 2 rapids on the Red?
No.
Okay. But
it drops about 6 inches per mile, so it's like your bathtub.
Okay. Yeah, I can rock with that. The current obviously has different speeds depending on the depth of the river, right? The lower the depth, and we're in a dry season right now, the slower the current. Is that right?
That is correct. And so
let's pause for just a moment. I guessed at all of that, and I got it. I feel so good right now. This is great. Keep going.
Now I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about the current, right? So
yes.
the lower the water depth, the slower the current.
Yeah. So we don't suggest people go on the river when it's reached flood stage.
Okay.
Because then it is going fairly fast.
Okay. Yeah, that makes good sense. So you said paddling. Are people swimming in the Red?
We do not suggest swimming in the Red just because it's so dark you can't see what's underneath.
Ah.
And there are a lot of like dead tree snags and stuff in the river.
Okay.
So
yeah, good to know. Well, let's talk because there's a number of events that are happening, and it's interesting. I was up in Grand Forks recently, and I got a tour actually of how Grand Forks uses the Red River in a lot of their downtown areas, and they have a lot of buildings built around it. And Fargo doesn't. Fargo and Moorhead never took full advantage, although I think they're working on it now. What's getting worked on now?
Yeah, so Moorhead has a riverfront corridor plan, and Fargo is going to update their greenway plan this fall.
You must be jacked about that.
Yeah, super excited about that.
So what events can people participate in on and around the Red River right now?
So Riverkeepers partners with Moorhead Parks and Recreation on canoe and kayak rentals at the Yumcomps Landing. So
Perfect.
those open June 1st. And then we also do group paddling excursions for people who might not be comfortable going out by themselves.
So right now, in the next week, people can go and they can start kayaking and canoeing.
They could on their own. Starting June 1st,
Right,
we'll have ours. Yep.
Yep. So taking a look at that, is it what, like $40-$50 to rent something?
No, it's $10 per hour per vessel.
Oh, that's really inexpensive.
Yeah.
Do you supply life jackets too, or do people need to bring their own?
No, that is definitely something we make people wear on and fastened.
Okay, so you supply them for them?
Correct.
Which is great. Yep. So $10 gets you the life jacket and the canoe or the kayak.
And the paddle even.
So if somebody, which is great, yeah, the paddle's necessary. I was just going to put my hands in and just go like one of those 80s cartoons, but nonetheless, if people are starting at the Yumcomps, they're loading in that downtown area. Where are they unloading then?
The same place.
Okay, so they're going against that current.
We go against the current first, so you know what it's like to go against the current, and then you can go downstream, and then you have to turn around and come back up against it again.
That is my preferred way of going on runs or walks. I used to run back in the 80s. It was a great time, but I would always be like, let's start into the wind because you want to have the easier route on your way back, right? So people start by heading south on the river.
Correct.
And the is this a correct fact? I think it's a correct fact, but the Red River of the North, which is what we have here, is only one of two rivers that flows north in the United States. Is that not true?
No.
Oh, son of a gun. I heard that once. I believed it to be true. I've told lots of people that fact.
Lots of people think it. I don't know what the exact number is, but there is more than the one or two that people
More
think.
than two. Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of at least three. There we have it. What else is happening at the river that people can get involved with?
So actually, Lindenwood also has kayak rentals.
Oh, great.
And there's a great accessible kayak launch in Forest River, if
Okay.
anybody's interested in that. And then we also do things like tree plantings and storm drain markings and trash cleanups to try help sustain the Red River as well. And we get volunteers to help with all of that. So
That's fantastic. And I assume you're always looking for volunteers.
yes, we work with over 2,000 volunteers every year.
So if somebody wants to volunteer, or they want to learn more about what's happening with the Red River, where do they go?
Our Facebook page is very active, or riverkeepers.org, or give us a call. We only have 2 staff, so you'll talk to one of us.
That's so great. Christine, love having you on the show. Thanks for all that you do for the Red River and this community. It's a big deal.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
You bet. Folks, we're going to go to break, but in the meantime, swing over to Real Estate Radio's own page at hatchrealty.com. Lots of fun things for you to see there. This is Real Estate Radio with Erik Hatch.